Why do we lose motivation halfway through a goal? You've probably set a goal with genuine excitement. New year, new job, new habit. And then, somewhere around week 3, it all falls apart. You stop going to the gym. The side project gathers dust. The diet crumbles. So what happened? Did you suddenly stop caring? Not exactly. Your brain did something way more fascinating, and today we're figuring out why motivation crashes, and more importantly, how to catch it before it does. Think about the last goal you abandoned. There was probably a moment where everything felt harder than it had before. That's not weakness, that's psychology at work. Here's the first thing happening in your brain. It's called the progress plateau. When you start something new, you get these quick wins. You go to the gym 3 times, you see yourself moving easier, you write 5 pages of your novel, and they feel fresh and exciting. But then your brain adapts. Those same activities don't produce the same emotional reward. You're still making progress, but it doesn't feel like progress anymore. The gap between where you are and where you want to be suddenly feels huge again. That's when most people quit. Not because they're less motivated, but because their brain stopped giving them those little hits of achievement. It's a motivation cliff, and it hits right around the halfway point. The second thing is something researchers call the goal completion paradox. Here's what's wild about it. When you first set a goal, it feels urgent, it's new, your brain treats it like a priority. But as time passes and you're making steady progress, your brain does something counterintuitive. It deprioritizes it. Your brain thinks, oh, we've got this under control, no urgent threat here. So it actually allocates less mental energy to it. You stop thinking about the goal as much. You forget why it mattered. This is why successful people often say that the middle of a journey is the hardest part. The beginning is exciting, the end is in sight. But the middle feels forgotten. Now, let's talk about something called temporal motivation theory. Basically, your motivation to do something depends on 2 things. How much you want the reward and how far away it feels. At the start of a goal, the deadline feels urgent even if it's months away. Your brain tricks you into feeling time pressure. But as weeks pass, something shifts. The deadline is still far away, but it doesn't feel urgent anymore. That panic you felt on day 1, it's gone. And without that sense of urgency, motivation deflates like a tire with a slow leak. The 4th piece is identity. Here's what I mean. When you start a goal, you're thinking about the outcome. I want to be fit. I want to write a book. But motivation that's based purely on outcomes is fragile. It's not sticky. But people who succeed long term, they shift from I want to achieve this to I am this person. I'm a writer. I'm someone who works out. They stopped chasing the goal and started protecting their identity. When you're protecting your identity, motivation becomes almost automatic. You don't have to negotiate with yourself. And here's the last thing. We underestimate how much our environment shapes our behavior. At the beginning, you're in a state of heightened awareness. You've signed up for the gym, you've told everyone about your goal, you've put your workout clothes somewhere visible. But 3 months in, that novelty wears off. The environment stops supporting the behavior. You stop seeing the visual reminders. You stop feeling the social pressure. Your environment shifts back to normal, and suddenly the old habits feel easier again. So here's what changes everything. When you feel that motivation cliff approaching, don't try to motivate yourself harder. That's exhausting and it doesn't work. Instead, do this. Find a new way to measure progress that's meaningful to you. It could be a journal entry, a tiny ritual, something that reminds your brain that you're still moving forward. And second, Connect your goal to your identity right now, not later. Don't say, "I'll be someone who does this." Say, "I am." Your brain responds to that in a completely different way. Motivation doesn't disappear because you're weak. It disappears because your brain is optimizing itself for survival and efficiency. Understanding that, that's the first step to working with your psychology instead of against it. Now go do that thing you've been putting off. Your brain's already in the room with you.